Good evening, everyone. How are you? It's almost the ending of the Sabbath. I pray that you had a wonderful day. It was beautiful outside, hot and beautiful. Today, earlier, I went to the renaming of the Parkside Plaza, where it is now being named after Dwayne Joseph, who has done so much for the community, who, unfortunately passed away all too young. But there was sad, but there was a great turnout, and, a lot of folks were there. And today's topic is adulting. So, um, I couldn't help thinking about some young people. I went to an event yesterday, and going to these events, certain things just stand out. This was for young people who graduated mentorship. No, they graduated their internship programs, and it was beautiful and well attended, and they did so well. Very upstanding young people who have a zeal for life. But a couple of things I realized is that in now before I say that, they're on the verge of becoming young adults. Some are going off to college, some are already in college. Uh, I remember seeing a video where a gentleman said that the adults that are here now, the baby boomers, have not really left a great legacy for the children to come. And so, I was like, no, what is he saying? Come on. However, I find that within this climate of what's happening, as a lot of young people are turning into adults, there is so much uncertainty that many are unsure about their future. Many are on the verge of giving up before they even start because there are many who do not want to have children because they don't want to bring children into the climate of where we're sitting at right now. A climate that's filled with, not talking about the weather climate, but the temperature of our country, of where we are. And many do not, as I said, want to bring children into this situation because they feel their children will not be safe. Many feel unsafe. Many feel uncertain. They Many don't. Not these set of young individuals I'm talking about, but others that I've met. Because I found at the graduation there were those who wanted to become biologists or surgeons, or they had pretty much most of them um, did have a purpose, saw themselves in their careers or going off to college, and some kept it. One young man said uh, they did vision boards, and he said that he knows his will change, which is true, because he said, what he's thinking of doing right now might not be where he ends up, which is very realistic. And that was the other thing I found with many of the young people that were there. They were very realistic about, their outlook, where they were going, and the way things are. So I say this to say that although this set were more hopeful, I've met others that aren't very hopeful, that sees that there's a breakdown in morals. Looking at the heads, those who are running the country, and what's happening in an election year. It just makes it seem so kind of a little bit hopeless for many. But there's always hope. My grandmother used to say, where there's life, there's hope, and things can turn around and will. And we just have to know that one person can make a difference. And that is something that I thought about with Dwayne Joseph, is that he made a difference. Sometimes you're from a community or from a neighborhood and you don't see things going your way, but you things aren't favorable for you and others. But to be part of the solution, you start with one yourself. And that's what he did. And he became a mentor. He was mentored and he became a mentor as well, and encouraged other young people and did what he could and worked with the police and, all the stakeholders to ensure that things do change for the better for himself and for others. And, you know, this is how, um, as young people going into adulthood, some of you may feel you're not ready for the challenges that this world has to offer. Some of you may feel you're not prepared for the challenges this world has to offer. And there are challenges, there really are. I want to take it back to the book of Luke, chapter 15. There was a young man who had his adulting went a little bit awry, and so he ended up returning home. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you go out into the world and you decide to get a job, have your own place, and things happen. Maybe the job situation didn't work out how you wanted it to. Maybe the pay wasn't enough. Maybe the your rent went up and the pay uh, uh, did not. You did not get an increase in pay. Or as your pay increases, so does inflation, and so things are rising. And sometimes, but don't think of it as failure. Uh, we do things by trial and error, right? And the Bible does tell us that the older folks are supposed to teach the younger folks. And when I said the older folks teach the younger folks, it doesn't necessarily mean that they had to be successful in order to teach you. We can learn from others' mistakes as well, because sometimes they may not have, um, in their trial and errors, some of it did not work out how they expected it to work. However, when you share that with a young person, at least they know, listen, if I go out there, or just to be prepared, the Bible also said count the cost. If someone's building a house, they count the cost. Are you on a budget? Have you learned how to budget? And sometimes parents, we need to teach our children life skills. Sometimes, a lot of times when kids are growing up, sometimes the parents don't know some of the things that you now know, and even parents now know as well. It wasn't that readily available in within the diaspora, right, or the BIPOC communities. But now there are more information flows a lot more freely now that we have more public officials of color from the diaspora or the BIPOC communities. And so now more information is distributed and we learn more. We understand better the systems that are out there. And so it is, as we grow older and we learn, it is our responsibility to share with those who are younger, train up the children, make sure, sometimes if we don't know, we can enroll them in programs so that they know, so that they'll be prepared to enter into the world of adulthood. And so be better able to cope, right, with the challenges that they face. And know that if they need help, they can always look back on the parent. And parents should make that space, that safe space, that to know that for a time, if you need, just like an eagle, a bird, or something who flies, if their wing gets hurt, right? You take them in and you mend the wing and help them along as the wing is healed. And once their wing has healed, what do? You unbandage them. You, if they've not, if they've forgotten how to fly, even though I don't think that is possible, you would help them along, shoot them along, right? And once they, you lead them to that open window or that open door, then they'll go through and soar. So in life, we know that we're here for each other. We have to be here for each other. And especially during these times when there are so many uncertainties and so many challenges, so many things that are happening all at once. And sometimes, one system can get overloaded because of environmental factors, and then mentally and physically, it affects a person. So let's try to create safe spaces, have open dialogue with our youth as they grow and our young people and teach them. I like that Camille's program and CDOF, Marie from of Carmel's Depression and Anxiety Wellness Foundation, the CEO and founder, and I forgot what Camille's mentorship program, the name of it is. However, she took those young people, to different places and exposed them and taught them to dress well. And, it showed and they appreciated it. And, all we have to do is open up the world. I remember as my children were growing, when they were younger, I used to take them to the Metropolitan Museum and all the museums I would take them to. And I remember once a gentleman said to me, "Oh, yeah, take them to the Children's Museum." And my son started to just talk about what he saw in the paintings that were there and at MoMA. And he was so impressed. And he's like, wow. But I say that to say that yeah, and I would take them to restaurants where they would have the cloth napkins, knife and fork, but I taught them that at home. Everybody had their knife, fork, and spoon, their own glass, cup, and plates, you know, and just teaching them and taking them places to see historic buildings and to learn the histories of where they're living and what surrounds them. And, today, like I said, my kids do love the outdoors, nature, which is something we'd always do, and to go to museums wherever they go. They like to go and learn about the histories of places. We still do that when we travel as a family or when they travel on their own as well. And so, but we have to, the world is like an open oyster, right? And there are lots of gems like pearls all around. And so we need to open that up for the youth, for the young people, so that, and sit them down as well and have serious, conscious conversations with them, listen to them as they speak, uh, and don't say their ideas are stupid, because sometimes the ideas that they may have may just be brilliant. It's just that we're not perceiving it to be as such, right? And for you as young adults, know that you can have that alliance, have the freedom to, don't think you're all alone. Don't think that you have to do this on your own. You can speak to someone. I usually tell students and kids and people I meet, young people, if you, I mean, those that are in school, right? I say, if you're uncertain about what you want to do you have any interest at all, right? Like, what are your main interests? Like, you're interested in a couple of uh maybe banking, maybe doing hair, maybe a film, right? And I would say, well, get an internship at each, as you go along from the time you can work, which is what, 14 or 15, when you get the you know what I'm talking about, words just failed me just now. But anyway, the thing is, expose yourself. Go see what it is like, get an internship or shadow someone. You want to become a doctor or a nurse, or and find out where it is that you can go. And maybe, before they used to have candy stripers where folks would go to the hospitals and just move around so you can see, to know whether that really is the area, because not everybody know their purpose. There's some folks, since they were kids, I'm going to be a preacher. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to be a hairstylist. I'm going to be a chef. I'm going to be a baker. They just know. And since they're young, they've been doing that. But others, and I find that when you have many talents, what's that saying we used to say in Jamaica? Um, hmm, when you can do a lot of things well, the thing is, when you can do a lot of things well, it's difficult for you to have that one focus in mind. Sometimes I would see children who, they might have had difficulty academically learning. However, because of that, they'll be like, you know what? I am good at mechanics, or I'm good at fixing things, or I'm good at making things, and I'm going to become a carpenter. I'm going to become, right? The child that is gifted and talented academically, and they can fix things, and they can make things, and they can bake, and it's difficult to choose what it is then to do. So I say all that to say, get the exposure, and you have time to figure it out. Once you go, what I'm saying is that you don't have all the time, but you do take time out and make the time to do those internships, expose yourself in whatever area of life, or where you think you would want to uh, to be. Then make alliance with people within that field, right? Get to, whether at church, or, um, your parents' friends, or even if not, somebody who knows someone from that sixth degree. It all depends on your situation and circumstance, because sometimes it's all the same people. But in school, your teachers, your counselors, church, or wherever you get that exposure. And now you have a lot of not-for-profits around that have mentorship programs, internship programs. So get involved, and be that child who speak up for yourself, because a closed mouth never gets fed. And sometimes you're not getting what you need from exactly directly from home, but you can get it someplace else. So all you have to do is just say something, right? So I pray that for those who are on the verge of adulting, that you're not alone. You don't have to do it alone. And even if you don't feel the support from home, God will always provide someone to be there, to hold your hand, to walk alongside you, to show you, right? So that you can go for it and be that eagle that soars. Because after all, we do want our fledglings to soar. Well, have a wonderful night. I pray this blesses someone. Once again, my name is Florence Chang-Ageda. And if you have a friend or a loved one who you want to hear this message, then you can go to my YouTube channel. My name is Flo Chang-Ageda, FLO, and you can share from there. I'll upload it. All right. So have yourself. Oh, let me see if anyone's watching. Usually, it's been a while since. Um, Hold on 1 second, and I will check. Well, I don't see anyone, but um, you know, if you see this, if this come across your feed, and you want to share it with someone, but they're not on Facebook, as I said, share if they're on Facebook, but if they're not, it will be uploaded to my YouTube channel. My name there is Flo, Flo, and same last name, Chang-Ageda. So have yourself a wonderful weekend. Stay cool, stay safe, and know you're loved.